Well, whenever Donald Trump goes on Fox News and an interview with Laura Ingraham about real-time events in the courtrooms, the plaintiffs' lawyers and the public like us better sit down and take copious notes. We got a new interview with Donald Trump, and it is a cornucopia of amazing things that will be used against him and his administration in court. Two things in particular. Donald Trump, I guess, went on the show to try to argue that Chief Justice Roberts, in his direct rebuke of Donald Trump, wasn't talking to Donald Trump when he said stop talking about impeachment and start talking about appeals of federal judges. He's, well, he didn't name me by name. That's the best he's got right now. And in the same breath, he tells Laura Ingraham that he will not, and his administration will not openly defy federal judge orders, which they've done already. Let's talk about impeachment. Let's talk about defying federal court orders and Donald Trump's interview with Laura Ingraham right here on Legal AF. This is a fast-moving story. It broke off the weekend with Judge Jeb Bosberg. Remember that name? You're going to be hearing a lot about it. Chief Judge Jeb Bosberg of the D.C. District Court. A little bit of background for Jeb Bosberg. He was the presiding judge as the chief judge over all grand jury matters for the back half of the Trump criminal prosecution in D.C. He was also on the FISA court. He knows his way around foreign intelligence. He was on a court related to alien deportation. He's a friend of Chief Justice Roberts. He was a roommate of Brett Kavanaugh, another justice on the Supreme Court. This is the person that, and he's considered, just so everybody knows, a moderate, a middle-of-the-road moderate Democrat. He was put there by Obama. That's it. That's all there is. And everybody's loved Bosberg, except when he issued an order against Donald Trump off the weekend, blocking his Venezuelan deportation plan using a phony declaration of war and phony use of war powers under the Alien Enemies Act. And when that got blocked, and now the judge is trying to get to the bottom of whether the Trump administration violated his orders by shooting off planes to Venezuela to put them in the Supermax, one of the most heinous, depraved prisons in the world is the Supermax prison in El Salvador. That the head of El Salvador, this tyrant named Bukele, he wants to fill it. So he cut a deal with the Trump administration to pay him millions of dollars to fill the jail. It's like Arkham Prison in Gotham. Yeah, it's that bad. I'm waiting for Bane to come out of there. It's really terrible. So the judge blocked it. Now he's trying to figure out whether his injunction got violated. In the meantime, the Trump administration moves for, they went through the normal path. They moved to vacate the temporary restraining order. They filed a paper at the D.C. Court of Appeals to have the order stayed. That was rejected. Try to get the judge removed. That was rejected. And so Donald Trump breaks out yesterday in song. Yay! Crazy song. The crazy song in the morning, where he goes after the judge and says he's crazy, lunatic, corrupt, and depraved with no basis whatsoever, and says he should be impeached. Right on cue, one of the MAGA Congress people draws up articles of impeachment to impeach Bosberg, all because they don't like his order. And finally, Roberts yesterday had enough, and he said, he issued a statement. When does the Supreme Court Chief Judge of the Supreme Court ever issue a statement? Never. It's either done during oral argument or it's in the decision and order of the court, the opinion of the court. Maybe they let it slip out during a speech or a conference over the summer vacation, but not like this. This was within 3 hours of Trump. Roberts responds and says, in the 2 centuries of our republic, impeachment is not the way. The way is appeal. You want to appeal, but stop talking about impeachment. Paraphrase that. So now Donald Trump's embarrassed because he just got rebuked. So he goes on Laura Ingraham and he has this to say. I'm going to show you the clip in a minute. He has this to say. He said, well, Roberts didn't mention me by name. I just saw it quickly. He didn't mention me by name, but many people have been calling for impeachment of this judge. Who are the many people? The ecosystem that Donald Trump created of paid influencers that on cue will run with any messaging that the rapid response team in the White House has created. That's what's going on. There is a rapid response team inside the White House, including social media, that pays influencers to repeat repeat. And then Donald Trump gets to say, see, other people are saying it. Other people are saying it because you told him or paid him to say it. So let's go to the clip and then I'll respond.
The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court issued what a rare statement about your suggestion on Truth that you posted earlier today that Judge James Bosberg should be impeached after he ordered those deportation flights to El Salvador halted, essentially turned around. The Chief Justice said it was more than two centuries. We understood that essentially impeachment was for very rare circumstances and not an appropriate response to rulings you disagree with. What's your reaction to the courts stepping in to make a statement here? They didn't make a statement when Joe Biden decided to forgive all those student loans.
Well, he didn't mention my name in the statement. I just saw it quickly. He didn't mention my name, but many people have called for his impeachment, the impeachment of this judge. I don't know who the judge is.
Did that seem like an honest response? He didn't say Trump. Is that it? First time in probably 100 years or more, or maybe ever, we're doing the research, a Supreme Court justice chastised and rebuked and point the finger at the head of the other branch. One branch talking to the other. Hi, it's the head of the third of the Article 3 branch. Can I have the Article 2 branch head, please? Yes, Trump, knock it off. I mean, that was effectively what he wrote. And all Trump can say, like a chastised schoolboy, is, well, you didn't mention me by name. That's all you got? Now, in the same breath, I'll give it up to Ingraham. I didn't think she'd go that far. She asked him about whether he's going to, Trump and the Trump administration is going to abide by court orders or they're going to continue to openly defy. I mean, you got Carolyn Levitt continuing to tweet about, oh, the ruling is not lawful. Nothing's lawful. It's all criminal. Is he going to refuse orders? And Trump had a line about that, which I'm sure plaintiffs' lawyers are going to use and judges are now going to cite to. Let's play that clip.
This is leading people to wonder whether there are court orders that you will defy because you believe that the judge has no jurisdiction or they're political questions and not justiciable at all. And what would you say to that? Are there circumstances where you would defy a court order?
Well, I think that, number one, nobody's been through more courts than I have. I think nobody knows the courts any better than I have. I would say the chief judge does, but nobody knows them better than I have. And what they've done to me, I've had the worst judges. I've had crooked judges. I have judges that valued Mar-a-Lago at $18 million because that benefited his case, because he wanted to see me convicted of something. I have judges that had relatives making millions and millions of dollars on the election, ruling on the election.
But going forward,
I had judges that were so corrupt.
Because that we all know that was outrageous.
I never did defy a court order.
And you wouldn't in the future?
No, you can't do that. However, we have bad judges. We have very bad judges, and these are judges that shouldn't be allowed. I think at a certain point you have to start looking at what do you do when you have a rogue judge. The judge that we're talking about, you look at his other rulings, I mean, rulings unrelated, but having to do with me, he's a lunatic.
So again, this is Donald Trump shooting himself not in the foot, but in the head of his own making. The last judge you go after, frankly, is Chief Judge of the D.C. Circuit Court, Bosberg. He's friends with Kavanaugh and roommates of Kavanaugh. He's friends with Roberts, who was appointed to the FISA court by Roberts. He's a moderate Democrat. Yeah. He didn't always side against Donald Trump when he was criminal Trump and criminal defendant Trump. You know, there were times he didn't side against him, like when concerning Mike Pence in his testimony. But now you've challenged his judgehood. Yeah. And you've gotten on, and also, if Donald Trump was trying to kiss and make up with John Roberts, this has been a terrible week for the John Roberts-Donald Trump relationship. They need to go to family counseling. First, Trump, during the joint session speech, gives, we'll show the clip here while I'm talking, gives Roberts a little pat on the belly fist bump thing. You know, won't forget you, thanks. And then Roberts later that day joins with Amy Coney Barrett against Donald Trump and orders $2 billion of U.S. aid paid out to pay off their debts. And now Roberts, because he'd look like a you-know-what if he didn't, stepped up to the plate and said, don't attack my federal judges. I'm putting on my chief administrator hat. They work for me. Don't bash them. You got a problem, appeal. It's not impeachment. You know how many impeachments there have been in the history of America of federal judges? 15 in 200 plus years. It's hard. It's because those 15 judges committed bribery. They were paid. They accepted bribes. They were corrupt. They were issuing decisions based on bribery and corruption. Yeah, they need to go, but there's only 15 of them. You got to get 2/3 of the Senate to convict. You think you're going to get 2/3 of the Senate to convict Jeb Bosberg? What an act of political theater. Yeah, but this is where we're at. Now, I said it on Popok Live, a new podcast I'm doing on Midas Touch Network last night. This is terrible for Donald Trump. This relationship, this family counseling problem with Chief Justice Roberts. He needs Roberts to accomplish anything in his administration. Because if Roberts doesn't side, if he slides over and joins the other three, and he brings Amy Coney Barrett, who has her own strange relationship with Trump, who put her on the court, Trump's going to lose 5-4, 5-4, 5-4, over and over again on things that matter to him. Why would you take on John Roberts? Because Donald Trump, let me just say the obvious. Donald Trump is insane. Donald Trump is mad as a hatter. He's not a loose cannon. He's irrational and unhinged. That's what we've been watching. His policies reflect it. His foreign policy, such as it is, his domestic policy, his economic policy, all in tatters. 60% of America thinks he's doing a terrible job. And they're celebrating the 40% that thinks he's doing okay. We hit 40. Wow. Keep going on TV, Trump. Keep going on Ingraham. Keep giving interviews. It helps the court cases. And I'll continue to cover it right here on Legal AF. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.